السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه ثم ما بعد. فنتابع درسنا. We'll continue in class in going through the book regarding the fatawa of al-Sheikh Muqbil al-Wad'i, Muqbil bin Hadi al-Wad'i, rahimahullah ta'ala, the Sheikh of our Shuyukh, the Sheikh of our Sheikh, Sheikh Muqbil bin Hadi al-Wad'i, rahimahullah, may Allah have mercy on him. His answers regarding questions from the women, الأجوبة الوادعية على الأسئلة النسائية. Before we start, we will take a couple of questions from the questions of the sisters. And the first question that we have is regarding irregular menses or istihada. So how does a woman differentiate between al-hayd wal-istihada, between the menses and bleeding other than her menses? So the people of knowledge in regards to this, they say that a woman who has continuous bleeding or has an irregular menses, that she is in one of three categories. Either that she knows a specific time, she knows the specific timing for her menses. And if this is the case, she knows when her regular menses comes and when it ends, then she makes that time, or she considers that time that she is on her menses. After that time finishes, then she considers herself to be, if she sees more blood and she is bleeding, she considers herself to be in the state of istihada, which is bleeding other than the menses. The second category, or the second possibility for a woman, is that she does not know a specific time that this is her menses, and rather she doesn't know any specific timing. So but she can recognize the blood for of the menses, which usually is darker in color and has an odor, and the women, they know it. So many women, they can recognize it. They can recognize the women who have istihada, many of them, they can recognize that when they have their menses blood, they can recognize that this is the blood of their hayd, of their menses. And so she considers that time to be her time, the time for her menses. Meaning, of course, as is known, that she does not pray, she does not fast, and she cannot have a relationship with her, or her husband cannot have a relationship with her. So this is in regards to the second category, or the second possibility. The third possibility is that she does not know a specific time. Again, she does not know a specific time for her menses. There are no specific days that she knows that this is the beginning, the first day of her menses, or this is the last day of her menses. Nor is she able to recognize the blood. So a whole month passes, and she cannot recognize that this is a menses blood, or this is bleeding other than her menses, or is a vein that is causing bleeding. So in that case, she sets aside something similar to the rest of the women, meaning that she sets aside 6 to 7 days of that she considers them to be her menses. And other than that, she considers herself to be in istihada and not in her menses. So this is the third possibility. And a woman who is in istihada, not on her menses, she is commanded to pray. She's allowed to pray. She's allowed to, she fasts. Her husband can have a relationship with her. So she goes on with her life normally. The one thing that is different is that she should make wudu for every salah. She should perform wudu. She should perform ablution for every salah. When the time for the salah comes, she performs wudu, and she puts something as to prevent the blood from flowing down, and she is allowed to pray, similar to the person who has involuntary release of urine. So this is what the people of knowledge mention. The second question is regarding the correct hijab for the women according to the Quran and the Sunnah and the Salaf. Any particular prohibition in terms of clothing, color, etc., and what is the most correct view on Niqab. Of course, this is a lengthy discussion, However, we summarize it with that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commanded the wives, commanded the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam to say to his wives and his daughters and the wives of the believers to lower from their garments over themselves so that they are known and they will not be harmed. The people of knowledge, they said, they are known to be believing women, and so they will not be harmed. So based upon this, we know that the women, they are commanded to have an outer garment, that covers their clothes and their beauty. And the people of knowledge, of course, they have differed in regards to the niqab, in regards to whether or not a woman is allowed to show her face, or is she commanded to cover her face. And there's a long disagreement between the people of knowledge in regards to this. However, Allahu A'lam, Allah knows best. The strongest opinion in regards to that is that it is obligatory for the woman to cover her face if the men can see her. And that is based upon many evidences and many different things. One of them, as the people of knowledge mention, is that the woman who reaches an old age, that is she no longer desires to get married, nor is she desired by the men to be married. They say the ayah states clearly that she's allowed to put down her clothes. The people of knowledge, they said, what clothes is she allowed to put down? What is she allowed to reveal? However, the ayah says that they should not be adorning themselves with beauty. So the people of knowledge, they say, what is she allowed to leave off? Clearly, it must be her face covering, that she's allowed to show and reveal her face because she has reached that old age. Not that she no longer wears the hijab, for example. No, it must be her face covering. And similarly, as is known that it is permissible for the person who wants to get married to look at the face of the woman that he wants to get married to. So if she was allowed to reveal her face in public, then there is no need for him to specifically look at her face, and rather she becomes known, and he would easily know what she looks like without the need for him to actually set an appointment and have her wali and be able to look at her with the specific rulings, and or that he would hide away and try to see her, as is known. And this is of course only for the purpose of getting married. So, and likewise, there are many evidences in regards to that. From them is of course the actions of the Salaf, may Allah be pleased with them, and the greatest of them and the most noble of them are of course the mothers of the believers. From the most noble of them and the most virtuous of them are the mothers of the believers. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He said that, and He commanded the believers from the companions, may Allah be pleased with them, that if they were to ask them for a matter, that they should ask them from behind a veil, meaning from behind a barrier, behind a veil, behind a curtain, or behind, of course, the face covering. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, in the meaning of the ayah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He said in regards to them, that this is better and purer for your hearts and their hearts. This is referring to the companions, may Allah be pleased with them, and the mothers of the believers, the wives of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who have the purest of hearts and the best of hearts and the best of intentions. And so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commanded them to, when they speak and when they ask them for a matter, to ask them from behind a veil. So it is of course more so in regards to other women other than the mothers of the believers, and it is more so in regards to other men other than the companions of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, such as what we have in our days, that it is always better, without a doubt. Even those who say that it is not obligatory for the women to cover their faces, they say that it is better and it is highly recommended, especially if she is younger, of course, that they say it is always better that the woman covers her face and wears whether a niqab or something that goes down and is dropped down from over the head and that covers the face. Going back to the book, al-Fatawa al-Wadi'iyya, the answers of Sheikh Muqbil bin Hadi al-Wad'i, rahimahullah, ala al-As'ila al-Nisa'iyya, for the questions from the women. We're still in the chapter regarding questions or answers connected to the matter of knowledge and seeking knowledge. One sister asked, ما العلم الذي يجب تعلمه على كل مسلم ومسلمة? What is the knowledge that is obligatory upon every male or female Muslim to learn? قال الشيخ رحمه الله, the Sheikh rahimahullah said, العلم الذي يجب تعلمه على كل مسلم ومسلمة الخمسة الأركان. He said the five pillars of Islam. Of course, in a previous question that we mentioned, he mentioned the 6 pillars of Iman. Here, he mentioned the 5 pillars of Islam, and he did not mention the pillars of Iman. Of course, a lot of those, they come as questions during classes, or as that they are, the Sheikh would be asked during a class, so perhaps he forgot to say the 6 pillars of Iman. Allahu Alam. And then he said, but in a previous question, of course, he mentioned the pillars of Iman, and especially Tawheed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we talked about that. He mentioned examples of graves that are worshipped besides Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the warning against that, and that it is important for the women to know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and to know about monotheism, and to beware of polytheism, etc. So, of course, that is, they are to be understood together. So, the Shaykh rahimahullah here, he mentioned the 5 pillars of Islam. We say, of course, there is no doubt that it is also obligatory to learn the pillars of Iman. And then the Shaykh rahimahullah, he said, ثم بعد ذلك أيضا ما أوجب الله عليك أو عليك. And after that is that which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has obligated upon you. قال أنت رجل عندك تجارة. For example, you're a man who has transactions and has trades, and you're a merchant. Of course, a man or a woman. قال واجب عليك أن تتعلم ما هو الحلال من التجارة. It is obligatory upon you to learn what is permissible from trading and buying and selling. وما هو الحرام, and what is impermissible. قال كذلك أنت رجل تحب أن تسافر. ينبغي عليك أن تتعلم آداب السفر. If you are a person, he said رجل, a man, however, man or woman, because he was asked man or woman. So if you travel, it is important for you to learn the manners of traveling, the rules connected to traveling. قال فالأمر الذي أوجبه الله عليك هو الذي يعتبر واجبا. So whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has obligated upon you becomes an obligation. قال لسنا نقول لك, we do not say to you, for example, أنه يجب عليك أن تتعلم حديث من صلى الفجر في جماعة ثم جلس يذكر الله حتى طلعت الشمس ثم صلى ركعتين رجع بأجر حجة وعمرة. We say it is not obligatory upon you, for example, to sit and learn the likes of the hadith, whomsoever prays al-Fajr in congregation, and then he sits and mentions Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala until the sun rises, it is and then he prays 2 rak'at, it is as if he performed a complete Hajj and Umrah. قال هذا من الفضائل إن صح. He said this is from the recommended matters, if it was an authentic hadith. قال لسنا نقول أنه يجب عليك أن تتعلمه. We say it is not obligatory upon you to learn it, لكن الواجب عليك أن تتعلم أو أن تعلم ما أوجب الله عليك. But rather, what is obligatory upon you is to learn the obligatory matters, the things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has obligated upon you. إذا أردت أن تتزوج تقرأ في آداب الزفاف. For example, he said if you want to get married, you learn the rules connected to marriage. قال حتى ما يدخل الرجل على امرأته وهي حائض. So a person does not have a relationship with his wife while she is on her menses. وحتى ما يطلقها وهي حائض. And so that he does not divorce her while she is on her menses. Those are different rulings. It is, for example, as is known, is impermissible for a man to have a relationship with his wife while she is on her menses. And likewise, it is not permissible for him to divorce his wife while she is on her menses. So those are things that one must learn if he wants to get married. قال والطلاق وهي حائض لا يجوز. Divorce while she is on her menses is not permissible. وحتى ما يطلقها ويقول أنت طالق ثلاثا إلى غير ذلك من الطلاق البدعي. Likewise, he said that one does not, for example, want to divorce his wife and he says you are divorced 3 times in one sitting. And other than this, from the innovated matters and the impermissible ways of, or the innovated matters in the religion. قال الحياة التي تزاولها وتحترف فيها أنت صيرفي يجب أن تتعلم أمور الصرافة. He said, the matters that you deal with, the things that you deal with, it is an obligation upon you to learn about the things that you deal with. For example, you deal with money exchange. It is upon you to learn the rulings of money exchange. ما هو الحلال من الحرام, what is permissible, what is impermissible. ما يأتيك شخص يقول لك أريد أن تصرف لي هذه 500 عندي عشرات وثقلتني أريد أن تصرفها لي ولك 10 ريالات أو 10 ريال أو لك 20 ريالا. And he said, for example, a person, he comes and he wants change, or he wants to get rid of change and get bigger bills of the same currency, and he gives the person more. That is not permissible. Yani he gives him, for example, 110 for 100 of the same currency for the purpose of getting change or getting rid of change. He said this is not permissible. قال وقعتما في الربا إذا زدت. You both fall into riba, to usury, if you increase. أو استزدت, or if you give more or take more. ريالا واحدا, even if it is a single ريال. قال فعرفنا ما هو العلم, يعني a single unit of the currency. قال فعرفنا ما هو العلم الذي أوجبه الله عليك, وأن يتعلم المسألة التي يعمل فيها بعد الأركان الخمسة. He said, so by way of this we come to know what is obligatory upon you to learn. It is to learn everything that you have to deal with, after of course learning the 5 pillars of Islam. Yani, we say to our sisters and brothers who are listening, we say, what is obligatory upon you is to learn the pillars of Iman. Of course, it is not obligatory to go into all of the small details, and the different statements of the people of innovation and the people of falsehood and how to refute them and other than that. No, this is not obligatory. But of course, it is very highly recommended, especially if you want to become a student of knowledge and be able to help the sisters around you, that you can learn these things and warn the sisters against the statements of falsehood, against the ways of and the methodologies that are innovated and other than that. But what is obligatory is to learn the pillars of Iman in brief, the basic understanding of the pillars of Iman, the pillars of Islam, especially the things that you are going to do, such as, for example, if you don't have money to give zakah, but then you don't need to learn all of the details. For example, you don't have sheep. You don't need to learn the rules of zakah on sheep and other than that from livestock. It is not necessary at that point. But what is necessary, if you have money, if you have, for example, jewelry, it is upon you to learn what do you need to do. Do you have to give zakah on it? Or are you excused? Did it reach the level or the amount for which you have to give zakah? Or is that not the case? So you need to learn these things. Likewise, of course, you have to learn how to pray, how to fast, how to purify yourself, and other than that, from the different rulings. So the rulings, learning what is needed, what is upon you from the pillars of Islam, especially the things that you need to do, that you need to practice. You need to learn them so that you worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala upon knowledge, upon light. And then after that, depending on your situation, for example, if you're married, you need to learn at least the basic rulings of the family and household, and what is concerning them, what is the role of the woman, what is the role of the man, and other than that, in the in their relationship, in their house. And likewise, as the Sheikh mentioned, marriage, divorce, and other than that, from the different rulings. After that, if the person works, a brother or a sister, if they have a work, they have, they have properties that they rent out, or they have, they buy and sell real estate, or they have any sort of transactions. They deal with transactions, they deal with any sort of buying and selling. Then one must learn the rules of buying and selling, and so on and so forth. Whatever the person does, whatever the person works with, one must learn the rulings connected to it. So the Sheikh rahimahullah, he said, الأركان الخمسة لا يعذر أحد بجهلها. As for the 5 pillars of Islam, no one is excused for ignorance in them. قال ثم المسألة التي يعمل بها فيها. And then whatever the person does, فهو عازم على الحج ينبغي أن يعرف كيف يحج. So if a person wants and intends to go and perform Hajj, one must learn how to perform Hajj. قال رجل وزير لابد أن يتعلم السياسة الشرعية. واجب عليه أن يدرس السياسة الشرعية. If a person is a minister or has a specific position in the government, then he must learn the Islamic politics. قال رجل رئيس يجب عليه أن يدرس السياسة الشرعية. Say he is a president, for example, he must learn about the Islamic politics. قال العمل الذي تزاوله واجب عليك أن تعلمه. So whatever you do, whatever job that you do, even in regards to the worldly matters, you must learn what is connected to it from the different rulings. تعلم ما قال الله فيه. Learn what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in regards to it. وما قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. And what the Messenger صلى الله عليه وسلم said in regards to it. ثم سئل الشيخ, the Sheikh was asked, the sister asked, هل هناك مانع لخروج المرأة بدون محرم لتحضر أو لتحضر مجلسا في العلم أو غيره. So he was asked, is it permissible or is there a harm that a woman would leave without a male relative, an unmarriable male relative or her husband, in order to attend the gatherings of knowledge, or other than that? Yani to leave in general, especially of course to sit and learn in the gatherings of knowledge. So the Sheikh rahimahullah, he said, إذا لم يكن هناك سفر وأذن لها زوجها فيجوز. If there is no travel and her husband allowed her, then it is permissible. قال وننصحه أن يأذن لها إذا أمن عليها الفتنة. He said, we recommend for him to allow her, especially if he finds that it is safe for her, that there is no trial or tribulation upon her and her leaving her house, then we recommend for him to allow her to go and seek knowledge. ولا تفتن غيرها. And likewise, if he finds that she does not cause trial and tribulation for others. قال فإن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول, because the Messenger صلى الله عليه وسلم said, لا تمنعوا إماء الله مساجد الله. Do not prevent the female servants of Allah, the houses of Allah, the masajid of Allah. قال ويقول أيضا طلب العلم فريضة على كل مسلم. And the Messenger صلى الله عليه وسلم, he said, and the meaning of the hadith, seeking knowledge is an obligation upon every Muslim. قال وإذا كان يغار عليها أو يخشى عليها من الفتنة أو أن تفتن الرجال فينبغي له أن يأتي لها من النساء بمن يعلمها في بيتها. He said if he is jealous for her or that he worries that she becomes affected with trials and tribulations or causes trials and tribulations, he said then he must bring someone from the women, for example, to teach her in her house. قال وأن يجعل لها وقتا يعلمها ما تعلم. And also to set a time for her to teach her from that which he learns. قال فإن المرأة الصالحة تعينك على تربية أولادك. Because the righteous woman, she helps you and aids you in raising your children. وتعينك أيضا على جميع أمورك. Because she also helps you in regards to all of your matters. بخلاف المرأة الفاسقة العاصية. Unlike the woman who is a sinner and a disobedient. قال فإنها تدمرك. She destroys you. وربما تتجسس عليك فينبغي أن نحرص جميعا. Or perhaps she spies, meaning that she reveals your secrets to others. So we should all be diligent in regards to this matter. Sheikh rahimahullah, he mentioned that, of course, nowadays, alhamdulillah, with the bounty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it is possible for the sisters to seek knowledge and to learn, even inside their own houses. With what we have, alhamdulillah, of course, if the sister is able to find good company, good sisters to be with, to sit with, to learn from, and also to teach them, then alhamdulillah, that is ideal. This is what is, this is what one hopes for. However, if she's not able to find, then alhamdulillah. But with the bounty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His mercy upon us, nowadays it is possible to seek knowledge in your own house. Whether be it by way of beneficial books, be it by way of beneficial different social media or different YouTube channels, for example, that are beneficial, that are where you can learn your deen. Alhamdulillah, our brothers in the administration of Sunnah scene, likewise Sunnah Saga, they are very diligent. May Allah reward them. May Allah reward them with good. May Allah increase their reward and reward them abundantly. They are very diligent in choosing the good teachers. Bifadlillahi ta'ala, they have good teachers. Alhamdulillah, they have excellent, beneficial classes with some of the mashayikh that are translated, and this without a doubt is from the bounty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And there are other channels, bifadlillahi ta'ala, that are very beneficial. However, of course, one should be also careful not to listen to anyone. As is known, many of those social media channels and other than them, they are open. They're open platforms. So you can have people of the Sunnah and people of the Bid'ah, people of Sunnah, people of innovation. They all teach and they all speak on those platforms. So what is important for us is to look for those beneficial channels and stay away from the harmful ones. If you're able to understand Arabic, alhamdulillah, find the channels of the ulama, the likes of Sheikh Abdul Muhsin al-Abbad, Sheikh Salih al-Fawzan, and Sheikh, of course, Sheikh ibn Uthaymeen, Sheikh bin Baz, Imam al-Albani, rahimahullah, Sheikh Muqbil al-Wad'i, and other than them, find their recordings, find their classes, and listen to them, benefit from them. And other than them, Sheikh Abdul Razzaq al-Badr, and other than them, our Sheikh Abdul Rahman al-Umaysan, hafidhahullah, our Sheikh Abu Hussein al-Ba'dani, hafidhahullah, and other than them, from the people of knowledge, find their channels, find their classes and recordings, and benefit from them, because without a doubt, this is the best way to learn. If you're not able to, you don't understand Arabic, for example, then alhamdulillah, there are brothers who translate, benefit from those translations, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. So barakallahu feekum. This is from the bounty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala upon us nowadays, is that it is possible for you to seek knowledge wherever you are. Regardless of where you are, it is possible for you, it is easy for you to seek knowledge. What is important is to be diligent, to have some time management, because if you don't have time management, then time passes and you don't learn. So set a time, specific time for learning. Set a time on the side, say this is for me to seek knowledge, and be diligent. Go through books, go through explanations of books, and alhamdulillah, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give you the knowledge. Also, of course, piety, the fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, wattaqullah wa yu'allimukum Allah. Fear Allah and Allah teaches you. So by way of fearing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and having piety, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala increases the people in knowledge. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to increase all of us in beneficial knowledge and righteous good deeds. قال الشيخ رحمه الله قال أوصي إخواني ها هنا أن يجتهدوا مع أهليهم. He said, I recommend for my brothers. Now this is an advice to the brothers, to be diligent and to work hard with their families. ويجعلوا لهن أوقاتا, and to make time for their wives. فإن قلت امرأتي لا تحب التعليم لا تفهم أيضا وربما يكون حالها كحال بعض الإخوة مع امرأته يعلمها ثم يقول لها إنك كذا، ينتقص منها أنها لا تتعلم فهي تنفر. قالت له، المرأة تقول عليك اللعنة إذا لم تقم من عندي وإذا علمتني مرة أخرى. يجعل هذا كأنه سببا للخلاف، كونها لا تفهم مثلا، كونها لا تفهم، كون المرأة لا تفهم يجعل الزوج ربما يغضب عليها، وبسبب غضبها عليها هي تنفر من طلب العلم. فينبغي علينا، ينبغي على الرجال أن يكونوا صابرين مع نسائهم. So the Sheikh rahimahullah, he said that the men should be patient with their wives. Their case, that some of the women, they do not like to seek knowledge. They do not like it. So they don't understand the matters quickly. They don't have quick understanding or deep understanding of some of the matters. So the husband comes to try to teach her, and if he sees that she's not understanding, he becomes angry with her. And then she starts to dislike seeking knowledge, because her husband became angry with her because she did not understand. So rather, he should be patient with her. And if he's not able to, the Shaykh rahimahullah will mention what is the solution if she's not able to. If he is not able to remain patient with her, the Sheikh rahimahullah will mention what's the solution. قال فإذا كانت معرضة تذهب بها إلى النساء الصالحات. He said, if she is far away and she doesn't want to learn from you, she doesn't want you to teach her, or likewise you're impatient with her, he said, you take her to the righteous women, to the good women, to good sisters. قال وأنت محتاج لها في الدعوة إلى الله. He said, you are in need of your wife when calling to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. يعني تدخل إلى النساء وتعلمهن وأنت لا تستطيع أن تدخل إلى النساء فينبغي لنا أن نحرص على تعليم أهالينا والله المستعان. He said, because the women, of course, they are able to go and sit with the women and teach them, whereas the men are not able to. So we need from the sisters those who learn. So we should be diligent in making sure our wives, that they learn, they study, they sit down and learn and benefit. So if the person is not able to teach his wife, then he should at least help her, take her to good sisters who will teach her and help her and be with her. And likewise, nowadays, as I mentioned before, with the bounty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if you're able to, if you are, this is to the brothers and also the sisters, that you can look for beneficial classes that you think are at the level that your wife would understand. Or that if you are a sister, that you look for those classes that are at the level that you think you can understand and start listening to them. You benefit with them. Bi-idhnillahi ta'ala. You benefit by way of them. Bi-idhnillahi ta'ala. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala permits you to. And there's no doubt that seeking knowledge, as the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, it is an obligation upon every Muslim. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala elevates and raises those who are given the knowledge into high levels in virtue and status. And those who have knowledge are the ones who truly fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from His servants. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in the Quran, إِنَّمَا يَخْشَى اللَّهَ مِنْ عِبَادِهِ الْعُلَمَاءِ. Indeed, the scholars are those who truly fear Allah from His servants. وقال الله سبحانه وتعالى يرفع الله الذين آمنوا منكم والذين أوتوا العلم درجات. Allah elevates those who believe from amongst you and those who are given the knowledge into high levels in virtue and status. So there's no doubt, barakallahu feekum, that knowledge and seeking knowledge is something of great excellence, and it is from the best ways and from the best means of seeking nearness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We should all be diligent in seeking knowledge, even if it is a small amount of our time of our day, even if it is a small amount, by the bounty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala nowadays, with what we have from the different channels and what have you. Alhamdulillah, the sister, the women, they are able to do their housework while they're listening to classes. We don't say it is as beneficial as it is that a person, for example, frees some time and gets himself occupied only with seeking knowledge, listens to classes, even if it is, like I said, at home, that you pick up the book that you're studying and you listen to the classes and you take notes and all of that. Alhamdulillah, this is the most beneficial way. And if it is in the masjid, it's even more beneficial, especially for the brothers. As for the sisters, alhamdulillah, they can benefit even inside their own houses, because the woman, the best place for her is her own house. So this is an excellent way for the sisters to learn. However, even in addition to that, or if the woman is not able to do that, طيب, بفضل ta'ala, it is possible, like I said, that they have some classes. They listen to classes while they're doing their housework. Alhamdulillah, nowadays it is very easy. And so there is no excuse for any of us. And this is addressing myself and all the brothers and all the sisters. There is no excuse for us not to say, no, we're not able to seek knowledge. Alhamdulillah, seeking knowledge is something that is easy for those whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes it easy for. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give all of us the beneficial knowledge and the righteous good deeds, and to allow us to act upon that which we learn. وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.